let's talk about the newest palette from Beaute Bar. It is the Angles of Illumination. Now, they have had previous versions of this palette, so it's an all shimmer palette. However, this one is kind of like their remastered version. 16 shades, and they are removable, which is awesome because that means you can create your own BYOPs, especially if you have the Best Mattes palette from them as well, which that one is all matte shadows. So that will perfectly pair with this palette. And this palette is launching this Friday, December 15. So on the inside, we have so many beautiful duochromes. I believe there's only one multichrome in here, and the rest are referred to as duochromes. There are two shades I want to point out, Moonlight and Gleam. In this particular first batch of palettes, they are way too similar, and this will be adjusted for the next restock. So for the first launch of this palette, it will be launched at a discounted price at $65 instead of $69. So essentially you're getting that one shade for free, and also you can use my affiliate code on top. And thank you so much if you use my code. And I will set this palette in PR, so thank you so much to Beaute Bar for sending this palette over to me so I could try it out. So I'm going to be creating 2 looks with the palette, but first I'm going to be showing you some swatch comparisons, not only single eyeshadows but also other eyeshadow palettes, including palettes from Beaute Bar. And then at the end of the video, I'll give you some of my thoughts, so let's get right into it. Dipping into the Lure palette, and I'm going to be using pretty much this column and probably deepening up with the dark matte for one of the looks. Taking a Sea Nymph right into the crease, and I'm just blending it all the way around. Taking a little bit more on this outer corner and bringing it underneath my lower lash line as well. And just blending, 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 adding a little bit more. And I'm just kind of tapping on to further blend it up and out. And I'm taking 332 meters on the outer corner to deepen up this look, and a little bit underneath my lower lash line as well. And just really blending that out. I'm going to go back in with the other brush, just on the edge, and then back and forth just a tiny bit back in here. I have a tiny bit of fallout from the shade from picking it up, and I'm just gonna bring it up into the center of my crease just a little bit, and then I'm gonna go back in with a little bit of Sea Nymph just on this outer edge. Just a little bit. And then taking a little bit of Black Sea. And I'm really trying to put this the closest to my lash line possible, because I just want like the tiniest bit more depth in here. I don't want it to start to overtake the look. So I'm just now blending it in. And then I think I'm good with that. So I'm going to pick up Polarized from the palette. Look at that. I mean, this is so perfect for the shade. It is pretty squishy in the pan. So I'm going to have to be quite careful with this shade, because I have a feeling that this would crease on me if I just put on way too much. So, and that just really melted into the whole look because of the teal base. So you can really see the purple. And then on the inner corner, I think I'm going to use Dazzle. It's definitely more like a topper-like shade. Oh yeah. I'm just going to bring it a little bit in here as well. It's a little bit more green flashing, so I think it will complement very nicely. All done up. For the second look, I'm going to be using the All Done Up palette, and I really want to go into these grungy greens. I feel like I saw the shade Sunlight, and I immediately knew I wanted to do like a grungy, grassy green kind of eye look featuring just that shade all over the lid. So let's go. Picking up Transform, I'm going to be starting it out here and then blending it inwards. So essentially there's less product and less opacity going in towards the inner portion because I put down the most product out here. So I'm just gonna be really blending that out and kind of blowing it out a little bit. Just gonna take a little bit more. Really just do like a little V here. And then start blending it up and out. And I'm gonna take a little bit of natural and just run it on the edge of that. Taking a Goddess, and I'm just popping that onto the outermost corner and a little bit underneath my lower lash line, just to help connect. And then I'm going to go into this fluffier brush I was just using and just blend it up and out. And I'm just going to also blend it a little bit onto my lid. And I'm going to take a little bit of Transform. It's kind of like a bridge in between. And just lots of blending, essentially. Picked up Sunlight. This is definitely a topper-like shade, and it is not squishy. And I'm just going to pop that right all over the lid. Up here a little bit. Oh, that's just everything. That is such a stunning shade. It looks a lot more greenish blue now that I have it on, which is super cool. Look at that shine. Oh my god, it's so pretty. So pretty. I feel like I have a lot of thoughts on this palette. First and foremost, I feel like some of these shades are a little redundant, specifically on this top row. I just wish there was a little bit more variation in the topper-like shades. I would love to see some more kind of spicy and neutral shades in here, not just kind of Sunlight and a little bit Perception, I guess. Especially with these three shades, there's like a very similar kind of vibe. While yes, they're varying levels of opacity, I don't feel like they needed to be all in here. Now, I don't have the new version of the shade that was supposed to be more like an iridescent with a similar shift, but I think regardless, I think that it's just too redundant. Even if I had the more lighter based shade in here, I couldn't use the shades both at the same time because they would probably look almost exactly the same. And I could also instead try to sheer out Gleam a little bit more. I don't know, I just feel like they don't need to be both in here. I just think they're too similar. There are definitely quite a few shades in here that you can dupe out with some other palettes that you might already have from other indie brands, as well as similarities to Sigil eyeshadows. If you have a lot of Sigil eyeshadows, if you have a lot of palettes from Utter Earthly, Sugar Drizzle, etc., that I think that this would probably be a little redundant in your collection. So I did just see the original version of this palette right before this video, and I was kind of expecting, when I heard Angles of Illumination. I don't know why. I was kind of hoping for a lot of kind of iridescent, very sheer-like, topper-like shadows in here, because those are just so transformative and you can really get so many different kind of looks with them. I think the most unique shade in here is Luster and even Shapeshift. And also Luminescence, because it has just so many flecks throughout it. It's a really, really stunning kind of iridescent multi-chrome shadow. I did wear Sunlight on the lid to work the other day, and I wore it for 12 hours, and it just barely creased on me on top of the Too Faced Shadow Primer, and I paired it with some Blend Buddy mattes. That being said, Polarized is so squishy. It is straight up like the squishiest thing. You can't even, it just feels damp when you touch it. That will definitely crease on me within probably minutes, so I cannot use that one on the lid, unfortunately, due to having hooded oily lids. Glow and Transform are also a little bit on the squishy side, so something to keep in mind if you have hooded oily lids and you just don't want to risk it with any of these kinds of shades. But the rest of the shades seem pretty just like a standard kind of emollient, shiny, shifty, sparkly kind of formulas that I think are going to wear just like the shade Sunlight on me, but of course I won't know until I try it. But we are in colder weather, so my skin is just generally drier, so I do feel like I'm having a little bit less creasing than usual, than in like summer, for example. So I do want to try out some of these other shades and wear them a little bit, but I'm probably not the best kind of wear test person since I do have so many creasing issues. So just wanted to throw that out there, just some piece of information, help you make the best educated decision on whether or not you want to purchase this during launch or if you want to wait a little bit. There's also two loose pigments. I believe they're launching 6 shades. I was sent the shade Willow and Rain. These are so extremely sparkly and beautiful. I did notice they feel just a little bit gritty when I was swatching them. They're not glitter by any means. They're just a kind of loose pigment where it just has a little bit of extra oomph to it because it is so sparkly, so shiny. So I can't wait to use these. I do plan on using these in real, so stay tuned for that. But I did just want to swatch them in this video for you. And then the rest of the shades you could see swatch on their Instagram. So those are my thoughts on the palette. For me, I feel like it's not really perfect. Will I get use out of it? Yes, for sure, because I love that the pan is removable and included in some future BYOP, so I'm excited for that. But I do wish there was just more variation because that means just more variety to bring into your collection. So let me know in the comments below which look was your favorite and what you think of the palette. Will you be picking it up? I would love to hear your thoughts. And that's everything for this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time.